So this photograph perfectly illustrates the difference between normal facial development on the right and what I would call modern facial development on the left. Let's just say that you had a blueprint to build a house and your house was going to have a nice wide front door. And when it came time to build your house, you just bought the cheapest materials or you couldn't find good materials. And to build a house that would still stand up, you would need to make your door narrow, because if you built a wide door, your house would collapse.
He asked, does the cooking process somehow render food nutritionally deficient, causing eventual physiological degeneration? A basic diet was designed consisting of raw meat, viscera, bones, a small amount of raw milk, and cod liver oil. Each day, this basic diet accounted for 1/3 of the total dietary intake of the animals. The remaining 2/3 of the diet was the dimension of experimental manipulation. One group of cats received raw meat or cooked meat along with the basic diet. The other group of cats were given raw milk, pasteurized milk, evaporated milk, or sweetened condensed milk. Each cat's daily diet then consisted of 1/3 of the basic diet, plus 2/3 of the prepared food which was under study. Over the next 10-year period, Pottinger observed and recorded numerous physiological changes in the experimental animals and their offspring. First, you will observe the raw milk animals. They move about the pen with a great deal of agility and coordination. Notice the sheen to the fur and the normal sexual interest displayed toward the male in the next pen. As would be expected, they land on their feet when thrown in the air. The pasteurized milk-fed cats, shown here, move about the pen in a manner quite different from the raw milk cats. They are lethargic, much like animals in a zoo. When thrown a short distance, these animals show a slightly impaired sense of coordination. Dental deterioration was also common. Note the abscesses above the molars, the reddish cast to the gums, and the soft gingiva. With evaporated milk, there was even greater deterioration. When the study was begun, this cat was better developed than any animal shown thus far. The sweetened condensed milk-fed cats not only had their milk heat processed, but there was the addition of sugar. They are nervous animals.
He first visited Switzerland to study whether greater nutrition could be obtained from foods produced at higher altitudes, such as in the Swiss Alpines. He discovered the isolated Lechental Valley. Here he made physical examinations of teeth, recorded data, collected menus, and made photographs of the people. Samples of food and saliva were taken for later analysis in his laboratory. The children had well-formed teeth, good physiques, and an apparent immunity to disease and dental problems. They ate mainly dairy products, whole rye bread, and plant foods such as potatoes and cabbage. Meat was eaten sparingly, usually only once a week. For example, these two brothers lived under the same roof, but ate differently. The older ate primitive foods and was in excellent health. The younger had extensive tooth decay and a poor physique from eating the foods of commerce. In 1933, Dr. and Mrs. Price visited Alaska to study the Eskimos, one of the last examples of a Stone Age people. Dr. Price discovered examples of physical excellence and dental perfection seldom found anywhere else in the world. living in isolated districts on native foods. They had uniformly broad dental arches and typical Eskimo facial patterns. Their general health was excellent. The Eskimos ate foods rich in minerals and vitamins, mainly caribou, kelp, berries, fresh fish, organs of large sea animals, and seal oil.
Perhaps the most important point established was that the addition of a pint of milk to a quite generous diet made boys grow taller and heavier, reduced their proneness to various diseases, and gave them more physical and mental vitality. There is a marked difference in the heights of boys drawn from different classes of society. At 13 years of age, the boys at Christ's Hospital School are on an average nearly 2.5 inches taller than those from council schools. At 17, they're nearly 4 inches taller than working boys of the same age. These differences are largely due to differences between the food they eat.
And you must remember that the national consumption of milk and butter is too low.
The experts are agreed that there is malnutrition. But in all countries, even in a prosperous country like Britain, there is much ill health and suffering due to malnutrition. Ignorance about proper diets is widespread.
But there are hundreds of thousands of housewives who cannot afford to buy enough of the high-grade protective foods. All they can do is to feed their families with the lower-grade filling foods so that they won't feel hungry. Thus, there is no starvation.
One accepting invitation.